And in my twisted face, there's not the slightest trace of anything that even hints at kindness. And from my tortured shape, no comfort, no escape. I see, but deep within is utter blindness, hopeless as my dream dies, as the time flies, love lost in illusion, helpless, unforgiven, bold and driven to this sad conclusion. No beauty could move me, no goodness improve me, no power on earth if I can't love her. No passion could reach me, no lesson could teach me how I could have loved her and make her love me too. If I can't love her, then who? Long ago, I should have seen all the things I could have been. Careless and unthinking, I moved onward. No pain could be deeper, no life could be cheaper, no point anymore if I can't love her. No spirit could win me, no hope left within me. Hope I could have loved her and that she set me free. But it's not to be if I can't love her. Let the world be done with me.
You know, today is an interesting day because I've got a great door prize. It's a wonderful all-weather golf umbrella that someone donated. You remember in the past I've said if you'll bring in a great door prize, you get some microphone time. Well, I'm already getting some microphone time. I had to bring in this door prize. So what I'm getting around to is I'm getting tired of bringing in the door prizes. I know you like those candies, you know, the ones, the marshmallow with the caramel. Well, you're not getting any more until somebody else brings in a door prize. So what today we got is this umbrella. And I'm reminded that, as this old saying goes, evening red and morning gray helps a Rotarian on his way. Evening gray and morning red brings down rain on his head. Now, red is due to the dust particles in the western sky, and the jet stream, as most of us know, generally goes west to east. I just want you to think back to when we had that great cancer doctor here, and he was standing right here. And he shared with us a grateful thought of not only dust particles in the air because we're in the Ohio Valley, but all the carcinogenic elements that are in the air that we breathe every moment. And that's got to make you really feel good, doesn't it? Dust particles, cancer agents, breathe in. It's the Ohio Valley. Well, that's my attempt at humor for today. There's a lot of appreciative laughter. I mean, look, if you'll bring in a good story or joke, you'll get some microphone time. Door prizes, jokes, come on. Next week, we've got August 15th. It's going to be at the Galt House West in the Archibald Cocker Room upstairs. Our speaker is going to be Andy Barber, who is the project manager for the Bridges Project, and Ron Hustis from the Indiana Department of Transportation. It will be an open microphone forum. So those of you who want to be on the floor asking questions, get ready. I think there's one or two who may. Our speakers said they can take on anything. Also, I want to remind you, on August 22nd, we're having our first guest presider. It won't be me. It'll be former president, past president, Paul Gold. And if you were in the club when Paul was the president, you can't help but remember you never wanted to miss a meeting. Paul made it great and lively every single time, no matter what the topic was, what the speaker was. Paul made it so that you felt great coming here and you really were having a lot of fun. August 22nd, so go ahead and book that if you can. Next, we have an announcement from Joey Bailey, Religious Affiliation Administration, Paul Harris Fellow, who's going to talk to us about our Rotary Club Golf Championship. Joey?
Thank you, President Randy. See this silver trophy? It's been given for years to the club champion. Your name could be on it. You do have to be present to win. And we don't put your score just the year you won it. So please come. Phil Shear has won the last 2 years in a row, and it would be hard to go back and have his name put on it again. So come on out, sign up. Sheets are on your table. Turn in your money, and you're signed up.
First base, you should.
Our next announcement has to do with football. And it's from past President Mike Cool, a 1912 Society member, sustaining member, Paul Harris Fellow ×4, a 2005-2006 president, and the current district governor-elect. I think you're the elect. Nominee. Well, we could take care of that ballot box Chicago style. Mike?
Thank you, President Randy. I just wanted to thank you for this. And as they say, are you ready for some football? In keeping with the goal of having fun at Rotary, we're having our first annual Foundation Football Contest. This is an idea from the Franklin, Tennessee Rotary Club, who has done it for a few years to add some fun and competitiveness to donations to the Rotary International Foundation. On your table, you have flyers which give the details that I'll go through right now with you. First, you need to select any college football team as your team. These are just a few of your choices, but most of the favorites from our area are included on there. So select one college football team. Next, select any NFL team as your team. That's all you have to do. As you can see, this is a whole lot easier than the time and thinking that's required for fantasy football. After the Super Bowl, your contribution to the Rotary International Foundation will be $5 for each win by your two teams and 10 cents for each point scored by your two teams during the regular and postseason. You need to sign up as soon as you can. The college football season begins Thursday, August 29th at 6 p.m. when North Carolina opens at South Carolina. And for the IU fans, the Hoosiers begin their season that night at 7 p.m. when they're visited by Indiana State from Terre Haute. Put your two teams on the flyer. Did I hit the wrong button? Anyway, put your two teams on the flyer on your table and put it in the Rotary mailbox out on the registration table, or email your two teams and your name to events@rotary45.org. We'll update the standings each week at our club meeting to see who's on top and who's in the cellar. The winner is the Rotarian who donates the most money based on their team's wins and points. Pick and support your favorites or the ones you think will score the most wins and points. In the Franklin, Tennessee Rotary Club last year, the winner chose the Florida State Seminoles and the New England Patriots. The person who finished last chose the Yale Bulldogs and the Tennessee Titans. But it's my firm belief that it is the Tennessee Titans that let the Florida or the Yale Bulldogs down and not the other way around. Our winner gets the first annual Foundation football trophy and a $100 gift certificate to the Review restaurant. And the biggest winners are the people around the world who will win as the Rotary International Foundation is able to do more good around the world. So sign up today. Thank you for your attention and your contributions. Thank you.
We're going to move to the next part quickly because Karl's got a lot to tell us about, and you've got a lot of questions, I would imagine. Next up is Stetton, owner of Springdale Woods Farm, Paul Harris Fellow +3, 1912 Society sustaining member, the Rotarian of the Year in 2008, 2009, and the best club president we had 2011, 2012. Stet's going to present the Service Above Self Award.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Thank you, Randy, President Randy. It's great to be up here again to get some mic time. As you said, I won't give you a door prize. I can come up with one in the future, but not today. I'd like to say that it was a year ago this month that I introduced our recipient to this club as a new member. Just a year ago, a new member. I had contact with this recipient. We were trying to get together all the old videos of past presidents for the celebration of the centennial. And we were having one hell of a time getting it together. It was tough. So at the suggestion of our President Randy, he sent somebody by that said that he was in video and was a fellow Shriner and he might be able to help us out. Well, he was a great help. We got together, we went through and we tried to salvage some of the old videos. They were unsalvageable. So we had to contact and get new videos made of all the past presidents that were alive that time. And we coordinated these and got these all together. And he miraculously got them all together for our centennial party, which was July of 2012. And as you know, the celebration was great. The video was super. And he continued to do the video for that program, as you saw on the monitors, everything that came up provided us information about it. Well, it was during this time that we had gotten together and I sat there and we were trying to get these videos together and I had access to some of the old pictures, so we had coordinated some of the old pictures with these videos. And all of a sudden he turned on and he says, "Stat, is there any way I could join this club? You guys do a lot of good stuff." I said, "Well, geez, you own your own business." I was in his office at home and I said, "And you know, I'm sure Randy, since you're a fellow Shriner, would help sponsor you, and I'd be glad to." Well, I did. So I presented him last year as a new member. Well, during that time that we talked, I said, "You know, there's another thing I'd like to get done in my year, and that's, we have this video camera that's a cheap thing, and all of a sudden, I'd like to get those guys that don't make the meeting or somebody that can't make the meeting, make a video available." So, no sooner than said than done. Next thing I know, this guy's hauling this big equipment into our meetings and has been videotaping them and putting them on YouTube. He not only did that, he got the videos together for the party on the Parklands and was a great success there too. So, our recipient, and I hope you stand and applaud this young man. So it's been 1 year, Mark Coward, the recipient of the Service Above Self. Come here, come here. You bet.
Well deserved. Today we're also recognizing members for their Rotary service anniversaries. What we decided to do, since there are quite a few we're recognized, I'm going to go through the list quickly. No disrespect to anyone. I think President-elect Kevin, I'm not sure where you are, but tell me, okay, if this is correct, what we're going to do now, Kevin is going to see you after the meeting out in the hallway, and we'll be able to distribute your service pin, which we hope you will wear. Does that sound right? That's correct? Okay. 10 years. We'll start with him first. Charles, and if you would stand if you're present, just so everybody knows who you are. Charles Brockwell, John Clark. These are all 10 years. Jim Crane, Doran Crawford, David Garland, Maria Hampton. I don't have those cheerleader pictures after all. I've been looking everywhere, but I know who's got them. Tom Howell, Teresa Rady, Marianne Thornton. 15 years. Bill Campbell, Dick Clay, Ed Galloway, Annette Grisanti, Paula Harshaw, Tony Kemper, Hannelore Rader. Still on 15, Lee Squires. Lee's going to be one of the last guys I ever looked up to. He'll probably be one of the few to let me down. Cave Hill Cemetery, it's an inside joke. Okay. Michael Tague, Jim Wagner, Bill Yancey, Bert Groman, Henry Heiser Jr., 20 years, and Bert's 20 years. Henry, where are you? Stand up, Henry, come on, 20 years. A special guy. All right, Henry Heiser Jr., thank you, Henry. Another 20 years, John Johnson, Janice Purcell. 25 years, Barry Sheridan, Mike Cronin, Patricia Hart, John Witt, Dr. Witt, I don't know if I saw him today. Mike Cool, 30 years. John Mulder, these are all 30s. John Mulder, 30. Dr. Parkins, Fritz Parkins, Andy Sousa Michael, Lowell Pratt, and everybody knows Lowell, he's over there in the door. Super guy. Now, we're going into 50 years. Now, I don't want you all to stand up at once when I announce all the 50-year people, but I would think we all should tribute this fellow, give him a special recognition. Bill Taffel, 50-year member. Bill? I thought Bill was here today, but I guess not. Okay. Now, following our anniversaries for the month of August, 10 years, that was last year's, Michael Bennett, Chuck Irk, sorry Chuck if I mispronounced that, Bob Conley's 15, David Dick's 15, Ben Richmond's 25, Dr. Groff, Dick Groff is 30, Bill Herzl is 30, and Chaz Lavelle is 30. And so if everybody's got your pens, and thank you all for that, for your kind attention. We got rid of all last year's all at one shot. We got our August for this year in shot, and we'll have September's next. Now to introduce our speaker is probably the leader of the best amateur baseball team in the country. He certainly arguably has got the best experience when you go to their stadium. If you've been there, you know it's a great experience whether you like baseball or not. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Ulmer.
Thank you, President Randy. Who remembers our hockey team from the 90s, the Louisville Brewer Frogs? Anybody? Okay. Well, in 1995, I flew to Charlotte by myself to try to make a presentation to the East Coast Hockey League to get an expansion franchise from Louisville. And when I got there, there were several other cities there, and they all had groups of people with them with all kinds of information, PowerPoints, and demographic data, et cetera. And I thought, this is a bit of a problem. Well, I started talking to these folks, and all these other cities had sports commissions. The sports commissions were there helping the community try to secure a community asset. And that was the first time I ever heard of a sports commission. It did have a happy ending because my presentation was short and sweet, and I more or less said, I'm here with a cashier's check in my pocket, and I'm prepared to pay for the expansion franchise today. And the league president just about jumped across the table to get a check. So was our team about 10 seconds later. Anyway, in the late 90s, when the mayor wanted to establish a sports commission, I thought, well, that's great news, and I was happy to be a part of it. And we went out on a national search and brought in an executive director to start a sports commission. We had a number of successes early. We lined up the National Senior Games and got the Ironman, which has turned into a fantastic annual event. And then a few years later, we needed another executive director. Again, we went out on a national search, brought in another executive director. And this is about 2005 or 6. A number of us started questioning, you know, we're up and running, but we're really not taking that next step forward. We've got to generate a little more economic impact. And by then, Karl was just leaving a long and distinguished career at Churchill Downs. He became involved with the Sports Commission, and he agreed on an interim basis to help run it while we went on a national search, which we did. And after a while, we came to the conclusion, why are we out on a national search again? Karl gets it. Karl's a tireless worker, and Karl's main attribute, at least in my view, is he's a team player. Because with the Sports Commission, daily you're pretty much working with the Convention Visitors Bureau, the City of Louisville, the Fairgrounds, KBC, maybe the Downtown Convention Center, maybe U of L, maybe Bellarmine, maybe Metro Parks, on and on and on. You get it. I mean, you've heard the term of trying to herd cats. Well, Karl's a champion cat herder because he's good at getting all these folks in the room. He has the respect of all of them, and he's a consensus builder and really a facilitator, because that's what it takes, a team effort to bring any kind of something of impact to Louisville. So We're very fortunate to have Karl in this position, about 4 years now or so, because he brought the stability and the vision that we were looking for in the Sports Commission and have been looking for a number of years. Karl's a sports guy from a sports family. Karl's got 2 sons, they're football players, one just graduated from Purdue. Well, that's the Karl I know. I don't know who this is sitting here. Of course, many people of our age have a picture just like that. I've got one too. Karl's sons, Karl's got one son graduated from Purdue recently, another at Purdue playing football. Karl's got a brother here. His father was a fixture in sports in Louisville. All his brothers were terrific athletes in high school and college. His wife's a championship swimmer. Karl played football in high school and college, on and on and on. If there was ever a sports guy from a sports family, it's Karl, and we're sure fortunate to have him in town here leading our sports commission. Please welcome Karl Schmidt.
Okay, Gary, thanks. I'm not quite sure where to go from that picture, other than maybe that famous Bill Clinton line, "I did not inhale." One of his lines, I'd like to start off by acknowledging some of the folks that are very special to us at the Sports Commission. Our Vice Chair, who is with LGEKU, Wendy Wagner. Wendy? Our secretary with Bingham Greenbaum Dahl, Tandy Patrick, who's been there since day one of the Sports Commission. And our staff, you can hold your applause in, our staff, Diane Seppa, who is our office coordinator and administrative assistant, Lisa Mills, who oversees our marketing and public relations, Julie Howell, who raises the money, Joy Killian, who's our director of operations, Greg Fonte, who's responsible for bringing the events to town, and Andrew Wood, who's an intern with us this summer. So, a round of applause. Thanks again for the intro, Gary. We're pleased to be here. I want to thank the Downtown Rotary for inviting us, and also thank you, President Coe, thank you and all the Downtown Rotarians for what you do for this community and what you do worldwide. Oh, so I have the clicker, correct? So, one more time.
There you go.
So, sports, we kind of do things in threes in sports, right? You got triple crowns, you got 3 strikes and you're out, silver, gold, and bronze. So I'm going to talk in threes a little bit today. Tell you a little bit about the Sports Commission, explain our mission and the benefits to the community, and then in true Rotary spirit, provide an opportunity for service, how you can get involved with us. So this is what we do. This is what our business is called. It's called Inbound Sports Travel. We're a sales organization, and we're a service organization. Sales is attracting events, hosting, and creating and owning our own events. Service, we provide service in marketing, we provide service in operations, we provide service in fundraising and administration. Different communities do it a little differently. You heard my contemporary in Indianapolis, when they got started from a branding standpoint. They wanted to brand Indianapolis. If my counterpart from Richmond, Virginia were here, he would be talking about promoting healthy lifestyles. Right now in the evolution of our organization, it's about economic development. And as the term you'll hear us use a lot is heads of hotel beds. We're very closely aligned with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are a 501c3, not-for-profit. We're a Kentucky-based corporation, and we are an independent organization, but we serve de facto as the Convention and Visitors Bureau's sports arm. So this is a classic example of inbound sports travel. This is folks lining up for the Kentucky game that second round 2 years ago at the Young Center men's Division I basketball. We also had Western Kentucky here and Murray State University here. It was a terrific weekend in Louisville. So this is inbound sports travel. But let's talk about what we really do. So when our staff sits around and decides how we're going to help people, where we're going, you know, inbound sports travel just isn't provocative. It's not as exciting as you think about sports. So what we do is we create memorable experiences. We have 3 primary audiences that we create memorable experiences. The athletes that are participating in the events when they're here, fans that come into our town, or the ones that are here that come and watch, and the media. So we're really in the business of creating experiences. So here's an example of creating experiences. How many of you had an opportunity to go to the World Cyclocross Championships at Eva Bamman Park down the river back in February? A few. How many of you had your life turned upside down because River Road was closed for 9 days? Thank you. We did that. So no pun intended, but we hit this one out of the park. And here's a great photograph of the top 4 cyclists in the world. Our mayor, they're all holding Louisville Slugger bats. This picture like this has never been taken before because we condensed it because the river decided that God decided the river was going to be high that day. As my brother Nick, the engineer, says, there's a lot of water in that river. Sometimes there's more. that weekend there was more, so we condensed that event. We had all 4 championship cycling events on the same day, so we took that picture. We decided, let's do something fun. We put bats in their hand, and I can say that's a picture that will live for many, many years. So here's another example of creating an experience. This is University of Texas women's volleyball team. They won the national championship in the KFC Young Center. I can tell you that it was a fabulous experience, rave reviews all the way around from teams, coaches, administrators. The second largest attendance ever in the history of NCAA Women's Division I volleyball, and we were going against Omaha, Nebraska when Nebraska was playing. So we felt like we came out of that one pretty well, and the Young Center is just a media paradise for that third group. So here's an experience. So one of the things that when you talk about our mission, so we have economic vitality, we have quality of life, and we have branding, and our board has said you're going to spend 80% of your time on economic vitality, and that term is heads and hotel bills. So in quality of life, that's still kind of a work in progress. And one of the definitions we give to that is promoting healthy lifestyles. All of us in this room have a responsibility, as we know, whether it's in our personal life or our business life, to help attack this problem we have with obesity, particularly with children and children's health. We're not in the business of programming, but we're in the business of events. We have a half marathon. We partnered with the Y. They created a program, a sustainable program, where young people run a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles over a span of 8 weeks, running a mile or a half mile at a time. They finish their last 1.1 mile on our course in the morning. They finish at our finish line. They get the medal put around their neck. There's music playing, bands playing, people announcing their names, several hundred people at the finish line. And this young man, from what we were told, he wore his medal to school the next day. It's helped change his life. And the woman in the hoodie behind him is LaQuandra Nesbitt, our board member, who's the director of public health for Metro government. So this is something that we can do. Our board takes this seriously. So let's talk about the genesis of the organization. I mentioned before, and Gary was here from the beginning, in this community, the leadership decided we were going to be focused on economic vitality, and that term hits and beds. That was 13 years ago. Let's talk a little bit about how we're doing. Let's look at the last 12 months as a snapshot. So in the last 12 months, we've hosted national championships in gymnastics, wheelchair basketball, NCAA cross country. You heard the World Championship cyclocross, women's volleyball. We have the largest street vault, pole vault in America. We launched a 3-race running series, a half marathon, a 10K, and a 5K. This is a very vibrant volleyball community. That was a terrific time for them. Gary mentioned the Ironman is one of the largest and most successful in the world. This is a tremendous cycling community, and the cyclocross, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, was just a fabulous, fabulous experience for us. All right, so let's talk about how we do what we do. Most of you are in sales. You know you're only as good as your product. So what is our product? It starts with facilities. Our staff has some inside jokes we talk about. We're never going to host the Winter Olympics. We're never going to host the Summer Olympics. We just don't have the facilities. Probably never going to host the Pan Am Games. Never going to host the Super Bowl. Not going to host the Final Four until we build a domed arena. But we don't whine about that. What we do is take a look at what facilities we do have. And we have some pretty good facilities here, but we also have to get creative. The Ironman, there's no facilities really involved in that other than the Ohio River, about 50-mile stretch of US Highway 42, and a great marathon route going out to Iroquois Park. Infrastructure in our world is all those things that wraps around the facilities that makes the experience better. And we are overachievers in that particular area with our competitive set. And we are in the large market competitive set. We're at the, sort of the bottom tier by size. There's a lot of good things about that. So there we're talking about hotels, restaurants, bars, entertainment. What we like to say is we're the only city that has 3 truly iconic sports destinations. Kentucky Derby Museum in Churchill Downs, Muhammad Ali Center, and the Louisville Slugger Museum in Backfire. No one's argued with us yet. And so why is that important to us? Sports people like to do sports stuff. So when we're out there bidding and trying to get people's business, those are very important sales assets for us. So the top 3 are things our staff really cannot affect a whole lot, but let's look at the bottom 4. One of the things Greg's very good at doing is ferreting out things that are a good fit. What's a good fit for us? Cycling is a good fit for us because we have a tremendous cycling community. Volleyball is a good fit for us. We have a tremendous youth volleyball community. Cross country is a good fit for us. We have a very vibrant cross country. Where's Perry? St. X has been one of the leaders in that. So we try to find those things that are good fits with us, and it's all also about attitude. You know, we've been at it longer than any city in America, and that is the marriage of entertainment and sports. That's called the Kentucky Derby. For 138 years, Churchill Downs has been marrying sports and entertainment. There's a lot of Johnny-come-latelys I know now that are doing it on big time. But and I think most of you understand that. It's in our culture. It's who we are. It's what we do. I'd like to think when all these cyclists were here back in February riding around, that you saw them, you were saying hi to them and welcoming them rather than, knock them off their bikes when they're riding down the road. We also work in partnerships. The only way that we can get our job done is in partnerships. And then we're very much relationship based. So let's talk about our partners. So we have facility partners, we have sales partners, we have government partners. And probably the 3 most important partners that we have is, if you ask our staff today, because the project we're working on are 3 local colleges. And now with Spalding coming on as NCAA Division III, we have all 3 divisions covered. And here's a stat for you. In the last 10 years, between Bellarmine and the University of Louisville, they've hosted 55 NCAA postseason competitions and 19 national championships. No city in America is even close to that. Spalding's coming on board. We're going to help nurse them along so we can host some championships with them. We're working on an enormous bid opportunity with the NCAA. So those are and let me just say that the convention division, not only are they our funding partner, they are also our services partner. They're in lockstep with us. They're with us every step of the way. In fact, many times they're leading us. So let's talk about our clients. We are a business-to-business organization. Our primary clients are owners, rights holders of sporting events. This is an example of rights holders that we've worked with over the last 12 months. Most of them domestic, most of them national. The UCI is that organization that took Lance Armstrong's World Championships away from him. They were the organization that owned the rights to the cyclocross event we had. You see USA Gymnastics there. We're working with them. We're saying the mayor has always said, think big, dream big. Why not host their Olympic trials? The NCAA is a rights holder of many sporting events. So this is kind of who we are and what we do from a client standpoint. All right. So, one of the beautiful things about sports is passion, right? And a lot of times you go through in sports and you say, the only people that think that we can win is us. Our sales guy will tell us, hey, we can win this. We can beat Chicago. We can beat Atlanta. Remember that? Remember that little play there? So Brittany Griner is, how tall is she? 6'8". And while Shoni Schimmel looks a little taller, so she drove the length of the court, threw up that left-hander, got fouled, and got in her face. The only team that thought they could win the only people who thought they could win was the University of Louisville. So that's about us. We're about passion. So how are we doing? This is an article that appeared in the Courier sometime back. Since 2006, based on the measurements we use in terms of number of hotel room nights, sports, and this is separate and apart from the Kentucky Derby, has generated somewhere in the neighborhood of $260 million in inbound dollars, new dollars coming in our community. Even if we're off by 30%, it's still a pretty healthy number. We hit a lot of singles and doubles in our game. We BMX, youth volleyball, occasionally we have a home run, the cyclocross, D1 volleyball, the Ironman. So the numbers have been pretty good. One thing we know about sports travel, while it's not totally recession-proof, it is fairly recession-resistant. If you think about it, it's all about passion. If your son or daughter is on a travel soccer team, and it comes down to, is he or she going to go, or am I going to play that extra round of golf? You know what's going to happen, right? Is he or she going to go to a swim meet, or am I going to go out to dinner? The swim meet's going to win almost every time. If you're training for an Ironman, or you're training for a marathon, and it's between the marathon and taking a trip, or if your team qualifies to play in a regional or a championship, so passion is what drives our industry. We're doing fairly well on the economic side. So quality of life, as I mentioned, that's kind of a moving target for us, and that's all good. Lots of things to see, lots of things to do, people that can experience, and we have events. We're trying to promote healthy lifestyles through a running series that we have. A half marathon presented by Humana Vitality, a 10K that's sponsored by Norton Healthcare, and a Pure Tech 5K that's sponsored by Louisville Water Company. So we're out there doing our part in the quality of life. So on the community branding side, so here's an example of an event that we created that is purely branding, the Paul Horning Award. So our board came to staff and said, we want you to do something to do a couple things. Help promote the organization within the community, because 4 or 5 years ago we were a little bit invisible. And also we want to do something to help promote the community nationwide, all in our sports space. So we looked around at assets. Some of you may think he's an asset, some of you may have a different opinion. Paul Horning is a Louisville guy. He's always lived here. He's got a heart of gold. He's a tough guy. I'm in his office twice a week. And we created the Paul Horning Award, giving him the most versatile player in major college football. We've given it 3 years. And I can tell you, we are now a part of the college football landscape. And you can see by when we announced our watch list this preseason, University of Oregon, University of Georgia, Oklahoma State, ESPN.com, CBS Sports. So we're in that mix, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We've done a pretty good job. Okay, so the World Cyclocross Championships was one of those events that, tell you, it almost died and went away. It was floundering because of the promoter, and we have a lot of different models of how we bring events to town. This particular one, we had a third-party promoter. At the end of the day, we didn't realize that we didn't do as much due diligence as we probably should have. They didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. When they lost their presenting sponsor, the event was floundering, but because it was so cool, and because it was such a great event for us in terms of media exposure, quality of life, and economic impact, it was a $5 to $7 million event. We went out and we raised $250,000. We had some people step up, a lot of local companies. John Schnatter stepped up, David Jones, Sam Swope, who helped us with Wayne Supply. I mean, just stepped up, and you know, that's one of those things where staff and board, and I appreciate the board giving us, the staff, the latitude to say, we need to do this. Because we had every opportunity to pull the plug on this about 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. But it was a good thing for the community. We're not a very we are a risk-averse organization at this point in time, because we just don't have a lot of cash reserves. But this is one that we said we need to do this. And it was a magical day for Louisville, I can tell you. All right, a little bit more about our organization before I can say, hey, you can get involved. So we are a 501c3. Our governance is a board and executive committee and officers, very closely managed by this board, an independent board. It's self-appointed. Our chairman rotates every 2 years. Our board members have a 6-year term limit. We're in good standing with all of our partners. Size of our operation, we're not an unusually large operation by the size of our operating budget. We're very closely controlled. I can tell you my finance committee, we have 3 CPAs and 3 bankers. I have no hair, what I have is gray. But we do have one of our Rotarians, Amber Halloran, who is our treasurer. She's sort of like casting the deciding vote amongst the bankers and the CPAs. And the point there is that we're audited on an annual basis, and you can trust us when you want to do business with us. So how are we funded? We receive a major grant from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We own several events. We own the largest college cross-country meet in the United States. We own 3 running races, and we'll probably get in a little broader in the event ownership business. So that's part of our funding source, and we raise the rest. That's Julie's job. The board helps her. We all pitch in when necessary. I'll come back to the we raise the rest part in a minute and tell you how you can help. So how can you get involved? The most important thing for any organization like ours is volunteers. You can't work unless you have the volunteer workforce. It just doesn't work. The highest level of volunteers are our board members. As you cascade down from there, it's people helping hold tapes at events and keeping people back in crowd control. You can help us provide critical thinking. If you have any ideas in sports, send them to us. Our view of life is there are no bad ideas. There's only 3 kinds of ideas. Those that we'll implement, those that we'll think about, and those that we'll kind of put on the shelf and maybe probably not put in play. But we love to get ideas, and our phone numbers and email address are on our website. Financial support. So how does that work? We have several ways that people can play. We have a corporate partners program, which is sort of like the Fund for the Arts is a philanthropic gift. Thank you, Julie. A philanthropic gift that helps us do what we do better. We have a membership program for as low as $100. You can join and become a Louisville Sports Commission Insiders, and we have a little value added there. Event ticket sales. The Paul Horning Award Banquet is a hoot. I mean, if you're looking for a fun evening in late January or February, it is a hoot. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a great sports night. And we don't crush you with silent auctions and auctions. You just come in and have fun, and it's all about sports. We do a raffle in the wintertime. It's unique. The winning prize, amongst the winning prizes, you get your choice between every home football and basketball game for either the University of Louisville or the University of Kentucky. 3rd floor seats at Churchill Downs and Oaks and Derby. This year we have the PGA in there. Oh, last year we threw in the Masters, 2 tickets to the Masters for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Gary's helped us with bats. We got shut out by Bellarmine. They couldn't give us home basketball. So they had sold out. So look for that coming up, and then we have opportunities in sponsorship. So let me give you an example of something we're trying to hang our hat on here, where if there are any running aficionados out there, maybe somebody ran cross country in college, or you have kids that do it, and you can afford to help us. We are really not in the business of building facilities. That is not what we do. We do have a facilities committee whose role is to convene, bring together the right parties. If we identify an opportunity where a facility enhancement or facility construction could help us do what we do better. We have an opportunity through this NCAA bid process to get ourselves to where we think we can be on a permanent rotation of hosting the NCAA Division I, II, and/or III cross-country national championships. We've already hosted Division I, we've already hosted Division II. We have the largest college cross-country meet in America that we own and operate, and we believe that with a few facility enhancements, that we may be able to separate ourselves from the pack. Now, how good would it be to a state like Kentucky, and in an area like this, it's not necessarily known as it's being the healthiest city or the healthiest state in the country, to be known as a mecca for cross-country, for college cross-country. So that's something we could really bring to the table. And I know a lot of you folks in here, if you see it, if you believe it, if you live it, sometimes it'll happen. So Councilman Stockwell, I think I saw Glenn here, where EP Tom Sawyer State Park is where we run the cross-country. It's in his district. He's been a fabulous supporter of us. We think that facility is somewhere in the neighborhood of about $200,000 facility. Councilman Stockwell has said, how about if I try to get you half and we go out and try to find the other half out there? So we've already talked to Texas Roadhouse. Kent Taylor ran cross-country in college. The chief marketing officer was a cross-country guy. And we're looking for other companies to help us. So that's an example of us getting creative to try to bring. Oh, let me just say, this is an economic impact. In the last 8 years, cross-country has generated about $8 million in inbound dollars to our community through the events that we've hosted. So, I know I probably run over a little bit, but that is who we are, what we do. We are an economic engine, we're a quality of life, we're a branding organization. We do it all in the sports space, and we appreciate your time.